Hi, I'm Rachel, and this is Designed Resilience, the corner of the internet where we talk about building daily habits and practices to help you have the resilience you need when life is really hard or really awesome, because you need support on both sides. And I am so excited today because I have the opportunity to introduce you to Dr. Ron Lewis. Dr. Ron, he likes to keep it informal, but he's an incredible story, and it wasn't anything I could tell. I needed him to tell it. So I don't want to take any more thunder away, but let's dive right in. Dr. Ron, could you just give us a little bit of your background so that our audience knows who they're listening to?
Sure. Ron Lewis. I am a professor, speaker, consultant. Um, since 2012, grew up in St. Louis, Missouri. I have an identical twin brother. His name is Rodney Lewis. I like to say I have an identical twin sister, even though she's a year younger than us, Angela Lewis. And yeah, um, grew up in St. Louis, played college basketball. From there, ended up getting my master's and doctorate and had a lot of odd jobs along the way.
Amazing. I love your grounding in family. I've always heard that twins have this kind of unique bond, and basically triplets, it sounds like.
I mean, my brother and I's birthday on September 6th. My sister's birthday is on, I'm sorry, my brother and I's birthday is on February 6th, but my sister's birthday is on September 6th. My brother's 6'5", I'm 6'4", and she's 6'1". We all play college basketball. Tall family, but parents aren't that tall. So, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. And you all played college ball. That's
Yeah.
incredible. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. And then you're not just a successful athlete, but like a professional, a highly educated person.
Yeah.
Did you find that there were similar drives, like excellence in sports and excellence in education, or how did you choose such challenging paths?
Well, I knew early on that the idea of going to the NBA not happening. It wasn't happening. My brother and I played Division 2.
Mm.
So normally, if you play Division 2, you don't go to the NBA. Not saying it's impossible, but I really understood my skill set. I understood my athletic ability. It wasn't happening. My sister, on the other hand, did play Division 1 at St. Louis University. She did play semi-professional basketball. So I am a learner. My brother's a learner. My sister's a learner. Like we're all kind of, I don't want to say geeky, but we just love to learn. So me going the route of doing something where I would have to teach was just natural. It was natural. I think it was natural for my brother as he went in before um, pursuing a superintendent role. He was a teacher. He was a PE teacher. My sister's been running basketball camps for years. All three of us have written books. We just love to learn and impart knowledge. So, yeah.
I, Everything you say is more and more impressive.
Yeah, yeah,
Your
yeah,
brother's risen into the height of education. You've all
yeah.
published books. Like,
Yep.
my
Yep.
goodness, that's amazing. So far,
Eat.
it sounds like you're all just wildly successful and everything's been super easy. I bet that's not true.
No, not at all. And so when I give a speech, people would read the bio, and the bio, what people read, I think is what is not what brings me to the table personally. It's really all of the other stuff that's in between that I I'm I believe people want to hear more of. They want to hear, yeah, you wrote the book, but what's the challenge? Yeah, you went to school, but how did you have an identity outside of sport? So I agree. Like this idea of someone being widely successful because I'm giving out some accomplishments that I have, or some things that I've done, to me doesn't it really doesn't measure the success. To me, the success is all the behind the scenes stuff that no one promotes, no one glamorizes, but it's truly the truth of all of us.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
absolutely. I think that resonates so much with me because when we think about great things or challenging things in our lives, that's going to be
Hmm.
the highlight reel or kind of our trauma train.
Yeah.
So it's very natural to tell everybody the high achievements or kind of the traumatic things we went through. But at Design Resilience, I think you can actually help yourself more in the day to day, like what you're talking about, those little in betweens. So,
Yes.
what were some of the things that you built into your life between your really high achievements?
Um, mm, I think I want to make sure whoever listens to this understand that between the so-called higher achievement, for an example, my doctorate. I got my doctorate in 2019 and I wrote my book in 2013. Um, I got my master's degree in 2005. I got another master's in um, 2021. I'm naming these significant achievements. What most people would say, congratulations, and really there was no resilience plan in between each one of those. I would say moments. It's something that's every single day. It's consistent. It is consistent. To me, resilience is like car insurance. And here's how I liken it. Every single day, I'm sorry, every single month that we pay for our car insurance, we pay for something that we never want to use. We never want to use our car insurance. We want to have it, but we don't want to use it. Because if we use it, we know we got in an accident. And that takes time, energy, assuming it could be extremely horrible or it could be a fender bender. But the point is, if I have to use my car insurance, that's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
But most of us don't have a problem paying for it.
Right.
Because we know that when an accident happens, I'm safe. Call my car insurance or use my insurance. I think resilience is the same way. We need to invest in our resilience every single day because every single day we're facing some type of resistance. So in between time of doing those things, whether it was writing a book or, I mean, obviously it has evolved over the years, but I've always been really focused and locked in on I have to invest in myself. It's something as small as working out. It's something as big as journaling. Um, and everything in between. But I just it's so important for people to understand like the resilience is tied to the mental health and how we think, how we process our own emotions, and then what we do after we face some type of resistance, some type of obstacle, setback, or challenge. And I've faced those. And we've all faced those. So my journey is no different or no better than anyone else's. But I have really taken some insight from some of the things that I have experienced. And I choose to share them with individuals in the workplace or speaking and stuff like that. But so I just want to make sure that while I was getting my doctorate, there was so much in between. There was so much challenge there. A lack of self-confidence, self-concept, as I was pursuing a degree that if someone has a doctorate degree, whether it's medical or PhD or JD, we assume they have a lot of confidence. They study, they got to be an expert-ish. I'm going to say ish. But the point is that as I'm going through that whole entire process, I was just full of self-doubt. And I wanted to stop that process. I wanted to quit that journey. And it was really only until they said, look, if you don't finish this at this time, you're done. We can't do anything with that. You're out the program. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm about to get kicked out. So that's what really put the pedal to the metal. So I got to admit, I was getting my doctorate, but it was out of desperation. It wasn't even out of inspiration as when I started. So that was a level of resilience that I look back now at 44 and I say, well, I've learned that I don't necessarily need the nudge from others externally to push me forward when I feel like I can't do it. I feel like I have the tools now to make it happen. So,
Oh, so much goodness. Okay. Okay. I have some questions. So I completely agree with you that the ability to navigate challenges is really impacted by your mental health.
yes,
And you specifically mentioned journaling.
yes.
How how did journaling, kind of what was your process? Like, how did you find that particular practice helpful?
So let me just clarify. I have a doctorate in global leadership.
Mhm.
So I just want people to understand I have a good doctorate in global leadership. Like I'm not a mental health expert. I'm just this is my journey, my path. But anyway, one thing for me, um, and I have to admit, I don't journal as much anymore because I'm a meditator. Like I meditated for an hour today. Like I'm a meditator. I love to meditate. But at that time, I wasn't familiar with meditation.
Mm.
But journaling allowed me to declutter my mind because I had just a lot of thoughts. Like me being a person that wants to be confident, but is battling this idea of a lack of confidence, self confidence. Journaling allowed me to see my thoughts on paper and it helped me understand that that's not as real as my mind is making it out to be.
Wow.
So it allowed me to clear some of the garbage out of my mind because I think we have junk food brains. I really do. Is what I call like hopefully somebody will hear this and they say, oh, I gained a lot of mental veggies from it, nutrition for the mind. But there's a lot of junk food out there that goes into our mind and it helps us second guess ourselves. It helps us look at ourselves in a demeaning way. And personally, I'm guilty as anyone else, but that's what I'm trying to be self-aware. And that's what I try to help, especially college students as a professor. Like we're in a comparison game. So everything is a comparison. I look at this person and I look at them and I say, they have so much more. They're doing so much better. I had a student to bring this back home, but I had a student who I was about to graduate and thought, now again, student graduated at least with a 3.9 GPA, amazing student, one of my marketing students, but thought like she really did not have the skills to enter the marketplace because she didn't get the job in comparison to some of her counterparts. Like, you're not behind. You're not behind. So journaling allowed me to see those things that were in my head and write them out and then confront them that way. And that's why journaling, I had to keep doing it because I always had things in my head, like so many of us. And we think we're messed up. And look, we don't need to be fixed as much as we just need to rediscover who we are.
Oh, make that a t-shirt, put that on a billboard. Yes, we don't need
For
to be
sure.
fixed. We need to rediscover who we are. I love
Yeah.
that because I think, personally, journaling can seem intimidating because I think, and you may have this experience or not, but like when I'm just thinking about things, it seems
Mhm.
to be repetitive, right? It's over and over, kind of the same messages in my head. And so it feels like journaling would just be writing the same pages again. But your experience has been you got to work through that stuff. Like once you pulled it out and put it on paper,
Yep.
it kind of evolved over time and different thoughts, and you were deconstructing different things.
Yes. And let me just say, I'm no expert on journaling, people. I just want to let you know these are just some of the ways that I invested in myself. And I mean, I have different tools of today, but these are the ways at that age that I invested in myself in between like 2015-ish to 2018, stuff like that, 2019. But yeah, it allowed me but the thing is, yeah, I wrote some of the same things over and over because that's what was in my mind. The goal is not to try to fake myself out.
Okay.
It's what's in my mind that's troubling my spirit,
Mhm.
that's troubling my mental plane.
Mhm.
And my thoughts, I'm trying to keep my thoughts contained. I'm not trying to let them get away from me.
Mhm.
And I just think sometimes we don't understand the full time job it is trying to preserve ourselves and trying not to get lost in what the world should have us, or even some of our own family. I mean, immediate, whether it's wife, husband, kids. To me, that's a full time job, and I don't think we talk about that journey enough in the detail. We talk
Mhm.
about the highlights. Here's what I did, and I journaled 5 times, and before you know it, I arrived at this goal. Yeah, no, you didn't. You didn't do it that way. It was a lot of in between. There was a lot of self doubt and time, and that's what I talk about. Whether it's posting on LinkedIn or really anything, I'm talking about those in between times, those moments that no one sees, no one probably will ever hear about. Is between you and you. That's it.
That's amazing. So, kind of thinking about, you know, comparison and then getting control of your own mental thoughts, would you say, and I'm summarizing, so if I'm wrong, let me know.
Mhm.
that most of the battle we fight is actually inside us, and
Yeah.
we blame it or maybe say that other things outside of us caused it, but really, do you think it's all inside of us?
Well, yeah, I do. I think it's an inside. I think leadership is an inside job first.
Okay.
Resilience is an inside job first. Everything starts on the inside. And if I'm probably misquoting some of this, but the Stoic philosophy, I want to say it was Marcus Aurelius. Um, in a nutshell, says like it's not the things that happen to you that causes you to get upset. Is the meaning you put on those things. That's a you thing. That's not a me thing. That's a you thing. And as we keep going, I'll get more into my story. Not all of my story, but I will get more into some of these things, that these moments that have defined myself or have given me a little more clarity. But it was the value I put on it. And
Okay.
I'm a firm believer that we do a lot of correcting others,
Hmm.
right? Again, we're not broken. But there are times where I just think we need to spend more time within first
Hmm.
before we try to go on the outside or without, um and and help others. I think we need to do a better job of working through things through ourselves. Um and some people do it through therapy, some people do it, there's a number of ways, but again, we're not broke. We just need to rediscover who we are. I'm a firm believer in that. The great creator has given us all tools, skills, and capabilities, and it is our job to discover what they are,
Yeah.
and in order to do that, you have to be able to listen. But you can't listen if you're only taking in
Right.
more noise. So that's just me.
Okay. So like three questions. Okay.
Okay.
So in your story, is this
Hmm.
something that idea of going inside and that you were the one who gives value to situations, is that something you were raised with, or did you come to that like through a situation where maybe you were pointing fingers and then that wasn't working? Like, how did you get to this
How
philosophy?
to, yeah. So I graduated I'll start at undergrad. I graduated with my undergraduate degree in 2003 from Barry University. I ended up getting my master's degree at Barry University in 2005 in sport management. I am riding extremely high. So I am the first one in my family, for context. I'm the first one in my family to graduate college. I'm the first one in my family to get a master's degree. My brother has not achieved this yet. My sister has not achieved this yet. And we all have master degrees, all three of us. Um, we all have at least one. My brother and I have two, but my sister has her master's degree as well. And I will say, well, kudos to all three of us. We did not pay for these degrees. It was sport and graduate assistance, all this. Okay. Anyway, so I'm ready to enter the marketplace. I'm like, I'm gonna get a first job. I was in Miami, Florida, but the cost of living, and this is weird to say in 2025, but the cost of living was so high in Miami, Florida, where I was like, well, I think I'm gonna go back to the Midwest. So I just started putting out a lot of job applications, resumes, things of that nature. And I got nothing. Like when I tell you I got nothing, like not a call back, not an email, I didn't have anything. So now I'm getting desperate. I'm really getting desperate because I'm like, I did everything right. I went to high school. I didn't get in trouble. I played in sport. I was, for the most part at home at a reasonable time. And so I, in my mind, I have done everything that society has told you to do. Okay. So I'm still putting out at least 25 resumes a day, and that's not an exaggeration. That's how desperate I was to get a first job coming out of college with the master's degree. I have a lot of education, but I don't have enough experience I know now for the jobs I was applying for. So I ended up applying for a job at the YMCA. I got this job here in Fort Wayne, Indiana. I'm like, this is great. I got my first job. And as soon as I get this job, I moved to Fort Wayne. Like I'm talking, I get the job theoretically on a Friday. I'm here like on a Tuesday, like I'm ready to go. So I was excited. New journey, new challenge. But anyway, almost I would say 6 months into the job, I'm like, I don't like this. There's nothing about this job I like. I like meeting with people. I like hanging out with people. I like doing some of the sports because I was a sports director. So I'm playing like leagues for youth, and that was cool. But I was here about 6 months in. I'm like, I don't know if this is it. Not because the organization was bad or anything. I was like, I don't know if this is it. I don't think this is it. So within a year, I'm like, I quit. I'm out. I don't have a job lined up, but the arrogant person in me, like, I'll find another job. I got a master's. Come on. So I ended up working for another YMCA. I worked for a YMCA in a smaller town in Indiana. And this is the point where I'm like, I really don't like this job. I don't like the job whatsoever. Um, I'm not enjoying the people. It's in a small town. I don't think this is working out. So about a year and a half later, I get fired. So when I get fired from this job, I look in the mirror, theoretically, I'm like, well, I didn't really want the job anyway. It wasn't because of me, it's because of you. You weren't right, all this stuff. And I'm still young. At this time, I'm roughly 20, 27. Now I have a young family. Now I'm kind of feeling the pressure. Before when I quit, I didn't have a young family, but now I have a young family, and I just added to the youngness of the family. So now we got one on the way. I was like, oh my gosh. So I go and work for the American Cancer Society. Okay. I find the job. And in between time, I'm thinking I'm going to go to law school. In between time, I'm going to law school, cannot find a job. So I'm working third shifts at Kohl's, studying for the LSAT. Okay. I got a young family. I'm waking up so early in the morning. No, at night, like going in at like, I want to say 12 and working at like 3. And then I'm helping. I'm not even a construction guy. So if anyone knows me, they know I don't work with my hands. I'm not, but I'm doing that in the daytime, part-time. So I never told anyone that piece, but that's an important piece. So I end up getting this job at the American Cancer Society. So I'm like, okay, new beginning, new start, and not bad. I really felt like that job was giving me a purpose. Like I didn't know my calling at first, so I had no idea of a calling. But I'm like, this is not bad. This is not bad. And I really work with some good people. But as the organization starts to change, the energy around the organization change. A year and a half later, I find myself in the same position. I'm fired twice. Well, now I'm thinking, that organization was a bad place. That's what it was. Because look, I've done everything right. And this is literally how I was thinking. I've done everything right. I mean, it wasn't because I was doing something fraudulent. It wasn't because I was doing something that was negative, unlawful. It's like, they just felt like I couldn't do the job. So I'm like, it's a them thing because they don't see the potential in me. Okay. We're going to number 3. Okay, so stick with me, people. We're going to number 3. I ended up working at this medical device company. I didn't even know at the time that you can hang a light bulb or a light in a medical, like a hospital. Mm-hmm. And that was $1 million industry in itself, just the lights. So this is what I was doing. So I was this demo manager at this medical device company. And in this lovely organization, you got 5 days off a year.
Oh my goodness.
5. So Christmas happens on the 25th. I'm in the office on the 26th. Never experienced anything like that in my life. Okay. But a year and a half later, I get fired. Now you ask me, how did I come to this conclusion? And I want to make, and I'm trying to give as much context as possible, because sometimes people give content without context, and we take the content and we interpret it in ways I don't really want you to interpret. Like, I got fired 3 times, and up until that last time, it was the organization's issue. And don't get me wrong, if you've ever been fired from an organization or let go, however you want to, whatever terminology you want to use, there's some emotions there. That's your livelihood. You got a family, yourself. Like, that's for the most part, that's how we pay our bills. So I understand it. So I'm not trivializing. And I had that. I had that worry. But that third time was different. That third time, that's when I had to look deep in the mirror. And I don't mean it figuratively. I mean, I literally went in the mirror and I looked at myself and started crying, because I'm like, how did I get here? They told me, they being a theoretical they, go to school, go to college if you're lucky. I did that. No one could ever take your education away from you, but they never said they could take the job away from you. They say you keep the degree, but you ain't keeping the job. So one night I was on the couch, I was freaking out. And I was looking at all these motivational speakers. My brother, I never forget, he sent me a clip of a speaker named Eric Thomas, and he was passionate, and he was giving a great message. But I kept saying, I could do that. I mean, I've been fired 3 times. I know I can do that. Like, that's what I do. I do that. I've given presentations, and each one of those jobs I had to present to someone, and never had a problem doing it, and did it in a clear and concise manner. And I said, I can do that. And I watched another speaker and another speaker. No, I can do that. I know I can do that. I had no way to do that. They don't send you to public speaking school. There's no school for that. There are certificates now, but in 2003, I didn't see it. So what I did was, I remember waking up the next morning. I said, well, I can't just sit here all day. So I printed off my resumes, and each time I would leave the house, I would stay out as if it was a full day's work, because I didn't want to scare my kids. So the thought was, if I am doing this, I mean, at some point, like, I'm not going to just apply to any job. So I didn't do that. So I was talking with my sister, and she knew a coach at a local college. And I said, well, I'm going to go and coach basketball for free, just to keep in the game. I just want to feel like I'm waking up for something outside of just looking. I want to be purposeful with my time. And that's what I ended up doing. And that's when I found higher education. And from there, I got my first job working for a TRIO program, and I never looked back from there, because that particular program, as much as it gave me a job, it helped me find my voice. It helped me find, like, my niche, my flow. Yeah. So I came to the realization on that third time, to bring it back to your original question. I came back to, this is a you thing. You don't get fired 3 times in every single job that you're a part of. Lets you go, and it not be a you thing. Yeah. So that's why I developed, from there on out, leadership is ownership. You got to own your own stuff first.
Right. Oh, powerful. And yes, this is the perfect balance. The way we started our conversation, where you're like, college basketball, master's, doctorate. This is the perfect other side. I loved how you kind of transition, and I think this is important for people, especially collegiate people, is because I had a very similar experience of they told me what to do, and I'm going to do it. I didn't pursue the height of education, but I got a bachelor's degree.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I'm good at accomplishing things that are laid out in front of me.
Yes.
And I freaked out so badly about real life after I got my degree that I went to hair school, and I did hair I had a marketing degree from a four-year university. And I was like, I don't know if I can do it. I better go do
Mm-hmm.
hair because I could definitely do that. Like that's
Yeah,
lines and geometry and color theory. Like I could do that.
absolutely.
And so that the transition you made from give me the steps and I will follow them to this is my unique and special gift. Here is my
Yes.
flow. Because
Yep.
that wasn't an immediate connection for you. It took time. What was that like? Like when you kind of stopped looking, okay, so it's not just step by step. Like I have to find what I'm unique to. What was
Yes.
that like? And what did you find?
Well, I believe sometimes we can work on anytime that we're transitioning new, and I'm in a transition myself, like right now, into something new. And anytime that we're transitioning into something new, we can't use the same apps on old software.
Okay. Say more.
Okay. So when we update our iPhone, if we don't update our iPhone, the apps that we have on there right now at some point won't work. They're gonna say you need an update,
Right.
meaning we need a new software to run the application.
Okay.
But it's the same thing to me in human life. I needed a new software, a new mindset, a new thinking to apply what I want to do to get to who I want to become.
Okay.
Okay. So in that, I read, and how do we update our software? Well, it could be through videos, it could be through books or whatever, talking, conversation, mentoring, whatever. But for me, I read How to Discover Your Strengths,
Okay.
and I read Strength Finders. Strength Finders, that assessment. How to Discover Your Strengths really, there's so much to that book, but one thing it really taught me was that when you don't work on your strength, you end up just doing damage control.
Yeah.
You just so I will and it I mean it touched my heart because that's exactly what happened. At all of those jobs, it was every day. There was rarely celebrations.
Mm.
There was more, what did I forget? What did I miss? Oh my gosh. And now I'm in a job. So when I was at the American Cancer, they put me on an improvement plan. But I was missing so many details. The improvement plan wasn't going to help because I didn't know what I didn't know about me.
Yeah.
So it didn't matter. And it recognized that that's not my strength. Like
Mm.
that I could manage it and I managed it poorly, but that wasn't my strength. That wasn't my strength. So that's what that book taught me.
Yeah.
Well, let me back up. That's the biggest takeaway. Biggest takeaway. I had to get some new software. So I kept saying, like, whatever I apply for, I can't just be sitting at a desk doing like this just tedious little details. I can't do that.
Mm.
I have to be doing something where I'm allowed to express myself to someone else
Mm-hmm.
and not just sitting and doing reports. I will never fare well in that type of situation, which leads me to a different point that I get to here shortly. Number two, the Strength Finders. I took the assessment, um, and I got the top five. And at that time, my top five was communication. I'm like,
Oh.
what do you do with that? So I go in the book. It tells me what I do, the pros, the cons. It was teaching, speaking, consulting, that type stuff. And I was already semi-teaching, um, but I didn't really jump into higher ed. It was just like I was teaching a course at night, but I didn't jump. But what I realized is going back to How to Discover Your Strengths, when I was teaching, I never had to do damage control.
Mm.
It was seamless. Like, so when people say things like, when you enjoy what you do, it never feels like work. Like that was, I, I never had a challenge with that. I didn't mind doing the lesson plan, didn't mind teaching, didn't mind being in front of students, answering questions, asking questions. That was easy for me.
Mm.
Everything else felt so challenging. It was so rough, like every day. Um, but anyway, so I had to upgrade my software for that time frame of my life to say, okay, if this is true, then what can I do to ensure that I'm working within my strength and not working within my weakness?
Yeah.
And that's what I did when I got the job um, in the TRIO program.
That's amazing. And that fits perfectly. I'm not sure which came first, the strength
Mm-hmm.
exercise or not, but the realization that you don't need to be fixed, you just need to discover yourself.
Yes. Yes.
That's point in proof
Yes.
that is
And,
what you needed to find
and
your
that's all
success.
and that's all that it is. Like, me being fired was the best thing that happened to me.
Mm.
Because out of being fired, that's when I wrote the book with my brother.
Yeah.
Out of being fired, that's when I found my calling, not the job.
Mm.
Out of being fired, that's where I learned to trust myself. And there's some times where I'm like, oh, I don't know, but in a nutshell, like, that's where I learned to trust myself. Out of being fired, that's why it was partially nudged me into getting my doctorate.
Mhm.
Out of being fired, it let me being a professor, because it's not like, even though I felt like I had the ability, I had the the connection to connect with students, I didn't go to being a professor like that.
Right.
That took time. Out of being fired helped me start my business. So if I look at it for face value, someone like, oh my gosh, that's so sad. But again, it goes back, like, it's the meaning you make of anything
Mm.
that will allow you to grow through anything.
Right.
It's all about the meaning.
Yes.
In my experience in life, the meaning is extremely powerful, and no one puts the meaning on it. People can give you some ideas of what that may mean,
Mhm.
but you submit the meaning. It means this for me. That third firing meant this for me. And I felt like, when I got fired that third time, don't get me wrong, it's not like I am now empowered. Oh no. I would drive home. I just want everyone to understand, I'm driving home and I am nervous. I'm gonna see this pink slip. In my mind, there's a pink sticky note that's on my door saying you got to evacuate.
Mm.
Or um I will wake up in the middle of the night just to see if my cars were in the driveway, my car and my wife's car. Um, because in my mind, they will come and repo your car at like midnight. That's that's what I'm battling. That's what, at least, yeah, that's what I was battling at the time. And all I know is that you have to put I had to wake up every single day and put one step in front of the other, one foot in front of the other. There was no crying about it. I cried, but I mean the theoretical cry, like, no one likes me. It's not fair. No, the only thing that's not fair is that
Mhm.
I did not have the tools to sustain in those positions, number one. Number two, it wasn't fair that um, I didn't have the capacity from within to recognize at that time, hey, this is not going the way, we thought. This is
Right.
not good. That wasn't fair to me. Had nothing really to do with the job. But on the other hand, I would say that we all have a journey. We all have crosses to bear, and it is nothing we should fight against. And I know that's hard, but it's really not, because it's our journey. We all have a journey, and it's unique to us. So
Yeah.
my brother
I
never experienced this, and my sister never experienced this, but they have their own journey. They have their own things that they've dealt with. So
Definitely. And I think that's, people will say, oh, you're worthy or you're powerful. And when you're in those situations, it can feel like what are you talking about? Like, worthy of what?
yeah,
Powerful in what way?
yeah,
But always holding to, I assign the meaning. That's it.
yeah,
I'm worthy of the ability to say what this or that means to me. And I have the
correct.
power to do so. And so even when everything's falling apart, you don't want to go home because you don't know what you're facing, or you don't want to go to work or whatever, that's the power you can cling to. Is I can make the decision of if this is something that shoots me forward or pushes me down.
100%,
Yeah.
100%. And I just believe that there are things that we consider good and bad, and you know, the question is, well, like, in the workplace specifically, like, well, is it bad?
Right.
Is it good? I don't know.
Yeah.
It depends on what your meaning, what your stories behind it. I don't know. And I just remember when I that third time, again, there was a gap there. There was a true gap there where I didn't have anything. Um, I'm cutting the grass and I'm just saying, man, like, this is not it.
Mhm.
I'll take a run around my neighborhood. This is not it. This is not how this story ends.
Mhm.
So we definitely have the power to assign meaning. That doesn't always mean that those assigned meanings initially are going to be something that's uplifting and powerful. I believe that in that moment I was terrified. So I don't want anyone to think like I woke up after listening to some motivational speakers and I'm like, I'm ready to go. No, I was freaking out. I was freaking out. And I trust in a higher power and I trust in myself. And if there's a time, and this is why I say it's so important that you trust and you invest in this idea of resilience.
Mhm.
Because when that crash hits, and that can be for any of us in anything, I'm just using professional, but this could be a family thing. And I mean, I can apply the same idea in terms of a marriage. I
Mhm.
mean, in anything. We have to constantly invest in ourself so when things hit, we don't crumble. And I
Yeah.
think sometimes people wait to the worst thing that can happen, and now they're trying to put the pieces back together, or now they don't have the emotional endurance to wake up the next day and be like, I'm gonna face this head on.
Right.
And I don't think that's being tough. I don't think that's being like a hard individual. I think it's just being self-aware.
Yeah.
I think it's just being self-aware. So
Absolutely. Oh my God. Such a good conversation. I loved it. So you mentioned you're in a transition now. So you're the
yeah.
professor. So
Yep.
where are you going next?
Well, well, I'm not. I'm a. Well, mm, you're gonna make me go super deep, Rich. But like the title of professor, business, things like that. Like I don't. This may sound weird, but those titles are just titles. I don't. I mean, I like to teach. Um, but where am I going? I think that's the question. Yeah, I think it's more on a spiritual journey. I think
Oh,
it's more on a spiritual journey of, and I don't know why my energy and my spirit has just been moving me in a certain direction and learning more about other ways of thinking. So I feel like I'm I need to apply some new skills,
okay.
and there's some old thinking that's not going to work. I need to update the software. So and that's what I'm doing. I'm just updating the software. Um Yeah, I'm updating my software. So I'm intaking new concepts, new information about how to perceive this thing we call this world and reality and all that stuff. And that journey, this journey currently, I just find it doubled down on resilience. It's doubling and making my idea of resilience strong. And the idea of resilience that I live with is this: I don't have to wake up fearless.
Right.
I don't believe that we all have fear.
Hmm.
So I want to be more courageous,
Hmm.
like everyone, right? Everyone must have a little more courage. But the only way to exercise courage is to recognize the fear. They're the same thing, they're just different
Okay.
degrees apart.
Okay.
They're the same thing. The same energy in fear is the same energy I need for courage. I'm switching the thought about what this one idea means, and I'll give you a prime example. So last week I was on a vacation. Me, my sister, my brother, our families, and I have a fear of heights. We were in Nashville, like
Oh,
Gatlinburg, so we ended up going to this water park. Um, and I don't like heights. There's nothing about heights that I appreciate, and so uh, my wife and I are walking around the water park and we just looking at the water park and we see this slide. And I mean, it is one that is so high in the sky and it drops and it goes all the way up and you're on a just like a floaty. And then like I'm talking at least 200 feet in the air. And I'm not exaggerating. And you float and you go down. So I walk past that thing. I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm already assessing what I'm not doing. I'm like, I'm not doing that. She's like, you want to ride that? I'm like, nah, I'm good. I don't want to do that. I don't want to. At that moment, as for an example, that energy of fear was there. but I rode 3 of those rides. Because, and I know this is a very trigger. If if you're not afraid of heights, like you're like, yeah, I don't see the big deal. This ain't that big of a. But for a person who's afraid of heights, the same energy that it took for me to almost want to throw up as I'm walking up these steps to get on this ride, and then to sit in the slide and to go down from zero and go up. I did it 3 times because I was afraid.
Hmm.
I did 3 different rides because I was absolutely terrified. Because in order to show courage, you have to have fear.
Wow. Yes.
So I can't say I'm courageous if every time I see fear or feel fear, and I want to say feel it because we feel it probably more than we see it,
Mhm.
we feel fear and we retreat.
Mhm.
Sometimes we have to confront.
Right.
So that journey of asking myself, what are you afraid of?
Mhm.
What are you afraid of in this moment
Mhm.
that will make you want to throw up? Well, and I know somebody may say, man, you're a real geek, but I am, because here's the thing. I want to ask myself, I'm walking up these steps and I'm feeling I'm feeling queasy. But here's the thing. I'm looking at people go on this slide over and over again and nothing is happening to them.
Right.
Logically, I'm watching people get on the slide, scream, have a good time, and get off the slide. I watch another person. I watch a little kid, had to be about 10 or 11, get on this slide and just go for it. And I'm asking myself, why are they not afraid?
Right.
In a sense that maybe I'm afraid. So even that even that small moment led me to say, this is a mind game.
Mhm.
My mind, I know it wants to keep me safe, but sometimes when our mind wants to keep us safe, it also holds us back.
Yeah.
It holds us back. So that idea, I would have not have done it if I would have not upgraded my software, is what I'm saying.
Right.
In taking new ideas and a new perspective on life. Because before, I've been to water parks and rode nothing. Like I'm all right. Y'all take that. I'm gonna sit back and hang out, but I'm not riding that because it was so much easier to say that I'm afraid of heights, and that's the story.
Mhm.
That's not the story. When I started boxing, and entering these sparring competitions, absolutely terrified, absolutely terrified. But one thing I learned in boxing, you can have trainers, but boxing is similar to life, and you can have all the people saying, go get him, champ. You can do it, but you got to get in the ring alone. And it's the same thing in life. You have to enter life. Don't get me wrong. You can have all the people, parents, significant others, children, whoever, good friends, but you still have to wake up to you every day.
Yeah.
You still have to drive sometime in that car by yourself. Your thoughts and you need to be connected, moving you toward something that's positive, moving you toward something that you want. But here's what I found. I've had thoughts going left, my ideas going right, and nothing is going in the same direction.
Right. Sure.
That doesn't even make sense. And to me, that's the struggle.
Yeah.
So once I rode the first ride, I was like, that was it? Let me do the second one. So now the idea of flipping, because that was in my mind, that was going to happen. I was going to go up in the air, flip, tumble, and it was going to be a total embarrassment. It never happened. So Byron Katie said, your reality is always kinder than your imagination.
Wow.
Your
Yeah.
reality is always kinder than your imagination. And that's a great illustration of that, of my imagination getting, at least attempting to get the best of me. And once I did the third one, which to me, maybe I'm over, hyping it, but for me, that was the big one, because it was that drop that had a little red light at the top, and I felt like I could see this light like close. That's how high we were up, and that's the one that I said I was not going to do, that I ended up riding. those little moments, we all have those little moments. I just don't think we celebrate them enough.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's riding the water slide, I'm on vacation, da da da. But those little moments, those to me are examples of everyday resilience.
Yes.
Every single day. You gave a presentation, you were terrified, but you did it. It doesn't matter if it was good, bad, but you did it. Facing some of that resistance on a daily basis, we all have those. But the thing is, we know we should do it. Something says you should do it, but you're like, I don't know. When I started my business, I remember. So I applied to a higher ed job, and I did not want this job. I just did it. What I wanted to do was start my own thing, and and I'll say this: sometimes you have to borrow others' confidence. So talking with my wife, and she's like, I've seen you speak before. I know you can do this. I don't know. She's like, I trust you. So I had to borrow her confidence
Yeah.
because that was going to impact our household, and we never looked back since. So, but constantly updating that software, I think is just extremely important.
Yes. So, okay.
Okay,
Dropping
that's a lot.
gems everywhere. Like, my mind is so blown. Two things out of that. Did you notice or have you seen that now you're beginning to guide the software upgrade need, whereas before it was maybe external, like getting fired or things like that. But
Yeah.
now you were saying, where I want to be, this operating system isn't going to work, and so now you're seeking and you're finding the things that you need. I think that's a beautiful evolution that you're now self-correcting that. And then the second thing, I've heard that fear or like anxiety and excitement can be the same energy. You know, like if you're about to go on stage or something and I'm so nervous, and I'm like, oh, maybe you're just excited. I have never heard, and it is your unique brilliance that says fear and courage are the same energy, opposite sides of the same coin. And I am absolutely going to use that in my own life because I tend to be kind of perfectionisty and kind of like people pleasy. And so there's a lot of things that I'm afraid of that hold me back. But renaming it, that feeling in my body, renaming it courage, and then just taking the next step, like you've changed my life.
Oh, well, thank you. But let me just say this. That little tidbit. When I did not make this up, by the way. I just want to be honest, because somebody be like, you didn't make that up, because I did. It is a philosophy, looking at like these hermetic principles, and it's called polarity. And in the idea of polarity, like for an example, hot and cold, they're not separate. They're on the same spectrum as temperature. Okay, just different degrees of temperature.
Okay.
So if I move away from fear, let's just say fear is here. If I keep moving away from fear, I'm going to get to courage.
Okay.
Changing my thoughts till I get to courage.
Yeah. That makes sense.
So that software upgrade allowed me, and I know it's very small. Someone may see, but I don't care about that. But that small software upgrade allowed me to use the application of enjoying a theme park, is what I'm saying. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? Like it allows me to experience the world differently because I have accepted something different.
Yes.
So that small piece. But this software upgrade for me personally is not to achieve anything. I'm not looking to achieve something super specific.
Okay.
I'm looking to just be better within myself.
Yeah.
That's it. And wherever that leads me, that's where it leads me. And I'm okay with that. I'm not looking to get more clients theoretically or be on more. That's not it. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. It's by Lao Tzu, who wrote the Tao Te Ching. But with that journey, that one step for me is not to try to I'm not looking for more of anything. I'm looking to be better around everything.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. And that is a level of maturity. That's a level of self-acceptance. that you move beyond the striving and
Yes.
get to where I just want to like be really grounded and well and
That's it.
here. That's
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 it.
beautiful.
That's it. That's all I'm trying to achieve. Is just I'm trying to do what I do every day. And if somehow I attract someone to say, hey, can you share this in the organization? Sure. Can you share this on the stage? 100%. But I'm not looking for that.
Right.
I'll tell you, for me, one of the things I am constantly trying to achieve is peace.
Yeah.
Peace. Not because it's today's world, like someone would say, like in today's world. No, no, no. I mean, like, I just want to wake up peaceful.
Mm-hmm.
Despite the deadlines, the expectations, I want to wake up peaceful every single day.
Yeah.
And why is having this level of peace so important internally is because if I have a level of peace, I've also experienced a level of patience,
Right.
but I have a level of patience with myself. Therefore, I have a level of patience with others.
Yeah.
If I have a level of patience with others, how do those interactions tend to go? Well, do they go perfect? No, but I still have a patience. I still have patience with them despite what they give to me. Because to me, resilience, leadership, trust, these things are an inside job first,
Yes.
first and foremost. If you are a person of chaos, you're going to illustrate chaos
Mm.
in the world on a consistent basis.
Yeah.
I don't want that. I don't want chaos in my life, and I surely don't want chaos within. I can leave your chaos. One thing is hard for people. One thing people don't do is they can't leave their own mental and emotional chaos.
Yeah.
I was watching Rango, the little movie with the lizard. Johnny Depp,
Uh-huh.
I think, played the lizard.
Yeah.
Um, and the big snake with the cowboy hat, he told Rango, because Rango in the movie, if I'm not mistaken, he was just like lying all the time, like to make himself seem better and bigger and more important, a person of status. And Rango was a liar. He was always not. But with the big snake told him, he said, you can't run out of your own story.
Mm-hmm.
And that has stuck with me so much. It's hard to see the picture when you're in the frame.
Yes.
It is hard to see the picture when you're in the frame. And sometimes I have to step out of the frame and just look at the picture of myself.
Right.
And this to me is so important because when we come back to why we're here today is of resilience.
Mm-hmm.
I have to be able to look at myself objectively sometime.
Right.
In the third version, like I'm watching Ron Lewis go through life. Do I like what I'm seeing of him?
Mm-hmm.
But also, do I like the intent in which he's doing what he's doing?
Right.
To me, that's really, really important. So
Definitely.
when I think of resilience, I don't think of number one, there's no formula. I mean, everyone can have what works. Like today, instead of journaling, I do a lot of meditation. A lot of meditation. I love meditating. Um, I love solitude. My wife says I love it more than I should, but I love it. I need a vacation from the vacation. Like I
Right.
need to go into limited TV. Yeah, I just need solitude because I have just found in my younger day not being able to fully hear myself,
Right.
whether it's with music, you go to the gym, I teach a boxing class, I teach a college class, I do a speaking engagement. Before I know it, I have all this information coming in. I'm giving all this information out, but I'm never assessing,
Mm-hmm.
hey, what do you need right now?
Yeah.
What do I need? Because that helps me develop the peace I need, the patience I desire. And to me, that allows me to get up every time things don't go well because I get to listen to myself more.
Right.
So,
Yes. It's the most important relationship that you can develop.
and I
Someone.
think people miss it. I
Yes.
think they miss it when it comes to resilience. I think they're looking for something on the outside
Mm-hmm.
that they have already in the inside.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh my God. Fantastic, Dr. Ron. Amazing conversation. Thank you for your
Appreciate
time
it.
today.
Oh,
Now, I
thank
know you
you.
said you weren't necessarily looking for more clients or things, but I have a feeling that our audience is not going to want to let this be the last they've heard of you. So, where can our listeners hear more from you, read more from you, engage you to speak? How can they get
Yeah.
a hold of you after this?
Yes, I would encourage anyone to go to my LinkedIn page, and
Okay.
it's at Ron S. Lewis, Ron S. Lewis on LinkedIn. Because that's where I kind of started everything. My website is being redone, but if you go to Ron S. Lewis, shoot me a DM. I would love to connect with you and see how I can help you. Um, yeah, yeah. So LinkedIn, Ron S. Lewis, comma PhD, because there's another Ron or a couple more Ron Lewises out there. They're probably amazing, but they're not me. So yeah.
Yeah, I want to make
So
sure they
yeah,
get you.
want to make sure you get me. Talk to me.
That's right.
But yeah, yeah. But that's where you can find me at, and I do appreciate it. I really do.
Oh, this has been my pleasure. I'm gonna go journal after this to make sure that I bring in all the lessons I've learned from you. Your time today has been amazing, and I know that the people who listen to our conversation have benefited. So thank you so much.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it.